Hi, my name is Stephen Screen, and organizations come to me all the time asking how they can raise more money. And the very first thing I do is look at the money they could be raising, but aren't. The money that's going by every month that they are not picking up. Let me tell you what that means, because there's a big idea behind that. So what I have drawn right here is an average nonprofit's revenue stream. They have a couple of spikes throughout the year, right? A big one at year end. Now, they believe that this is about as much money as they could be raising. But here's what I want them to know. Here's what I want you to know, is that if you go like this, all of that is money that this nonprofit could be raising. If yours looks something like this, all of this is additional money you could be raising. That starts off with a singular belief. And that belief is that donor revenue is a stream, not a pond. Most small nonprofits believe that there is a finite amount of money that they can raise from their donors in a year. That it is a zero-sum game. If they raise some money here, they can't raise that money over there. And that is not true. What I want you to think of is that the generosity of your donors is a river, not a pond. And it is flowing by every single month. The smart nonprofits are looking for ways to tap into this generosity, to raise money here, and here, and here, and here. But there are three beliefs that hold small nonprofits back from raising more money, from tapping into all of this money. By the way, one of the ways I think about this money for your organization is pent-up giving. It is money that you could be raising if you were asking your donors more often, if you were reporting back to your donors more often, if you were, in sum, communicating with your donors more often. But there are three ideas that are holding you back. Let me share those ideas. We'll talk about each one of them briefly. The first idea is the fear that your donors are going to leave if you ask them another time or two. And I'm here to tell you that that fear is basically misplaced. Your donors are not going to leave. There are lots of organizations asking their donors far more often than you are, and those organizations are raising a great deal more money. Let me give you three really simple examples just from the last few months. Number one, I call it 4 in 4. This is an organization who, at the start of the pandemic, sent out 4 direct mail appeals in 4 weeks. That's 1 a week for 4 weeks. It worked incredibly. All 4 of those appeals performed incredibly well. They got a very small, as in single-digit number of complaints and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars more than they normally do. Story number 2, this is just from a couple of weeks ago. An organization that I work with sent out 24 emails in 19 days. It worked great. Again, they got a couple of complaints, a couple of unsubscribes from their non-donors, and they raised over $125,000 more than they would have normally during that period. Next story, 363. That's how many emails one organization is sending out every year. 363. They're taking 2 days off. All of these organizations are experiencing growth. They are raising more money than they used to, and they are retaining more of their donors. So I share all of that with you so that you get over the fear that your donors are about to leave, first in ones or twos and then in some thundering herd. That's not going to happen. If you increase your communications, you will end up increasing the relationship between your donors, not the number of people who leave. Okay, there's a second barrier that holds people back from doing more things, from asking here and here and here and taking advantage of all this. And that is a lack of time and resources to create the fundraising necessary to do these things. Now, that is a very real concern. I'm not sidestepping that at all. We need to address it. Some small shops have a serious lack of time and resources to allocate to fundraising. What I submit to you is that there's often a belief about what type of fundraising you send out that is what's really holding you back. Here's what I mean. All of this goes into the idea of speed and volume. Speed and volume is the tactic organizations are using to raise more money. And if you have a lack of time and resources, you need to figure out how to send out more. Here's what that looks like. That looks like reducing approval teams and times so that you're just able to get fundraising out the door faster and with less effort. Here's what that also means. It also means looking at your fundraising as less precious, not sweating bullets over every word and every sentence, but knowing that this is part of an ongoing stream of communications, and you need to do the best you can as quickly as you can and get it out. Because getting out more is more important to your success than having every single thing be perfect. And then finally, in terms of speed and volume, in terms of getting over the real limitations of time and money, is you need to be repeating fundraising that you've already used before. You know that appeal that worked great in the spring? Dust that off, change the timing of the appeal. In other words, talk about fall instead of talk about spring, and send it out again. What I call this is creating fundraising assets, not art projects. Each appeal, each email does not need to be its own thing. The organizations that raise the most while working the least are repeating large chunks of their fundraising in every single piece sometimes. Whole words, phrases, and paragraphs. Take out all the appeals that worked, dust them off, and send them again. Remember, sending out more is more important to your success than them being perfect. Okay, the third thing holding back organizations from doing this and taking advantage of this massive revenue river that's going by is the unwillingness to be uncomfortable. And again, this is a very real thing because it is uncomfortable to ask. It is uncomfortable to be vulnerable enough to share real needs of your organization, needs of your beneficiaries. This is hard. But I'm also here to tell you that this is a skill that you can learn, and you learn it through practice. You need to practice asking, practice being vulnerable, practice being courageous enough to put real needs in front of donors and beneficiaries. And the more you do it, the more you learn the skill. And I submit to you that that skill is a generous act. It is an act of generosity to ask your donors to help more. That generosity is to your donors and to your beneficiaries and to your organization, taking the nervousness that you have and setting that aside. Here's what I'm talking about when I say that nervousness. Anxiety is defined in one way. Anxiety is experiencing failure before it happens. And a lot of small organizations experience a perceived failure of asking a lot more before it actually happens. So they never ask more. They never try it even. And then they stay small and do less good. And what I'm hoping to accomplish right now is to help you set that anxiety aside and say, you know what? That's not going to happen in more than onesies and twosies. And really, if we are courageous enough to put asks in front of our donors, if we are other-centered enough to do the hard work of being uncomfortable, you will raise a lot more donors, you'll raise a lot more money, and you will be more valuable to your donors because you will be the organization that's showing them really what's going on and showing them what their gift is doing. So those are the three barriers that are holding organizations from tapping into this river of revenue. My hope is that that helps you figure out what's holding your organization back so that you can tap in, so that you can do something here and here and here and here. That's what the big organizations are doing. And remember, those organizations are big because they're asking so much, not asking so much because they're big. That's one of the ways that you grow. So if you want to grow, if you want to dip your toe in here, you're in luck. Because Chris Davenport of the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference and I have built a brand new product for you that allows you to send out more while working less. What I want you to do is go to worklessraisemore.com and you'll see a training that we have built that helps you send out more with less work. It's really high quality stuff. You'll be standing on the shoulders of the fundraisers who have gone before. And very, very easily, in a step-by-step way, I will show you how to use this speed and volume tactic, how to send out more stuff. It starts with year end, right? One of the vitally important fundraising times of the year, one that's more important than ever this year. So go to worklessraisemore.com, check out that training. I want speed and volume for you. I want you to tap into this revenue. The things that you fear will not happen. What will happen is you'll have increased relationship and engagement with your donors, and you'll raise more money. Thanks.